Good morning, West Coast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a really great hour for you this morning. What is Brewing in the Biosphere, our monthly show with the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust, this time in collaboration with Tourism Tofino, to debrief Truth and Reconciliation Day on the day, but also to talk about the kind of larger extension of that recognition, which is being featured at Tourism Tofino. And so that is kind of extends itself beyond the day right up until October 19th. So you'll get to hear about it if you didn't know about it. If you thought, oh, I was out of town for that day, I really didn't get to participate as much as I wanted to. Well, you will have an opportunity to engage more with Truth and Reconciliation. And we'll have Tourism Tofino in the house today to tell us all about how they're supporting this National Day, as well as Colin Robinson from the CBT to tell us a little bit more about what CBT is up to beyond Truth and Reconciliation. So I'm just going to turn the mic on right now and welcome Colin. Thanks for coming in today.
Good morning, Kim. Great to be here.
Yeah, right?
I'm stoked. Is
this your first time in the new station?
First time in the new zone. Okay. I'm looking at beautiful, calm water out there in the harbor. Couple of geodesic domes.
It just fit with the landscape perfectly, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. Stoked. Congrats on the new space.
Yeah, thank you. And soon this ice house will transform from its dilapidated state. It will rise from the ashes and become the beautiful vision that it is. And stay tuned for that. Well, there will be construction probably for our next talk, so you'll be hearing it. And it's going to transform into something really amazing down here by the water. Okay, so going back to National Truth and Reconciliation Day, you've been involved with this kind of since its infancy, from the beginning, from when it started at the high school. But could you just take us back to how it started? It started as a high school project from the students. Maybe take us back to the beginning, and then we'll talk about how it's transformed into what it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think that the fact that it is a high school-led project at its core is what makes it really special and really powerful and really of this place. So back, I'm more maybe 5, 6, I don't know exactly how many years ago, but there were some really amazing student-led projects with great staff people behind them, like Heather Hendry and Jason Sam, who now works for CBT, helping develop, I guess, Truth and Reconciliation related curriculum at the high school. And they decided to start putting it into an actual showcase. They call these things artifacts of learning. So, poetry, art projects, research projects to go on display on September 30th for not just staff and students, but also for community members. And eventually, CBT was very fortunate to have Jason Sam come join our staff team. And that was kind of a natural bridge for CBT to start administratively kind of supporting the event, because teachers and staff are busy learning and teaching. And it was a really good opportunity for CBT to help, just put in a little bit of extra capacity to make it a bit more of an event, and also connect with the Legacy of Hope Foundation, which is a national organization that helps do Truth and Reconciliation related kind of like public education activities. So we had some materials from them over the last couple of years as well.
And you had t-shirt designs. Do you still do that?
Yeah, that's through the art class at USS. They've done screen printing over the years.
I remember just how proud the student was that was recognized, whose design was chosen. And I thought that's a really incredible way to have not ownership over it, but just a little bit more stake in the event. Mm-hmm. You're like creating art, and that art is chosen, and then people are wearing it on their shirts. And
yeah, for sure. And really all the designs are so interesting and powerful. And some of them are really like, jerkingly sad or angry or what, some of them are more hopeful and some of them are more positive. And it's just so interesting to see like the different, I guess, feelings and realities of the story and the situation playing out on the shirts.
This may be a question for the high school, but do you know whose design was chosen this year?
I don't know this year. Yeah.
Okay. But their shirts are available. And we'll talk about Tourism Tofino with that, but the shirts are available for purchase. Is that right?
There will be some shirts available for purchase.
Okay, great. And so now I might just say, so this is like an event at the school. Is it still going on at the school, or does that day just wrap up on the 30th?
Yeah, that's done. We did a public day on the 30th, and then I know the students had some time to engage with it themselves during school hours, but we've now packed it all up. It's partially in the CBT office, partially at Tourism Tofino, and partially in the back of my car.
I hear you. I have a lot of that stuff in the back of my car. And so let's talk about Tourism Tofino's involvement. So thanks, Jess, for coming in this morning. Jess McGarry, am I saying that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And you,
Thank you.
Are in charge of this exhibit at Tourism Tofino. Is that right? Is it an exhibit? Is that the right word?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a traveling exhibit called Truth, Honor, and the Way Forward through the Legacy of Hope Foundation. It was the exhibit at Ucluelet Secondary School for the day of September 30th. And so we're now welcoming that into the visitor center. People will be able to see it there for, between October 8th and 19th. And then we're also going to be hosting like an opening reception to welcome the exhibit. So that's going to be featuring drumming and some poetry reading, and a beading workshop as well.
When is that? Is that on the 8th?
Yes, that's tomorrow, October 8th. The beading is from 12 till 4, and then the opening exhibit is from 4 to 6 p.m.
Okay, and did you say there is someone doing a welcoming of that? Do you know who it is?
Yes, so we're going to be having some drumming done by Dwayne Martin.
Okay.
And then we'll have Elizabeth George doing a beading workshop, and then some poetry reading by Heather.
Yeah, Heather Hendry, one of the teachers at the high school, and possibly some of the poets themselves are going to be coming up.
This is going to be great. So for some reason you can't make it, is it going to be videoed or recorded somehow for the greater public? Because this is the first year you've done it?
I think it's actually the second or third year that we've done it. For sure, we had it last year too.
Okay, and was there the poetry reading element? I don't remember that part.
Yeah, so we had that just on the opening night, but then the exhibit itself will remain there until Sunday, October 19th.
Okay, where does it go in your center when you're walking in? It's full of merchandise. So do you move it to the sides and just create a museum type thing?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right in the main visitor center.
Wow, so that's a lot of preparation work that you would have had to do. Did you do it this weekend?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're getting everything set up, and then the exhibit will be available to the public tomorrow when we open. So our opening hours are from 9:30 to 5 daily.
Okay.
And that's where people can see the exhibit between October 8th and 19th.
We'll make sure to let people know beyond this interview that folks can see that. Colin, you had something to say.
Oh, yeah. Well, it reminds me of something Jess and I were talking about yesterday. And you had some really great ideas about it's sometimes if you missed a one-off event, it can be hard, but you might want to. So it's such a nice thing that you guys have it open for an extended period of time.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. But go early and listen to the drumming and the beating. I can't even imagine how incredible that in itself would be. And then Heather Hendry, sorry. That's what happens when you're a twin. But I just love her. I was just cleaning up my books the other day and I came across Handmade Binoculars, and her poetry is it's so evocative. It's so simple and it's so beautiful in its simplicity. She's really one of my favorite poets. So just don't miss her poetry, because I would imagine it's going to be poignant and tear-jerking, because that's how a lot of her poems are. They are that for me, at least.
And you can tell she's also an amazing teacher, because I could not believe some of these poems that I was reading and that they were done by, grade 8, grade 9, sort of early.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So their poems will be featured even if they're not
there.
Allowed?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll have lots available also just for reading, they're in little frames so you can walk around and read them. And it's powerful stuff. Yeah. And then obviously poetry is so much more powerful when it's read aloud too. Yeah.
So be worth coming to see that. You don't have a lineup, do you? Know when things are starting tomorrow?
Well, so the beading workshop with Elizabeth George is from 12 till 4 p.m. Okay. And then the opening ceremonies are from 4 till 6. Okay. It's a pretty casual event. I would say a smallish gathering, but the more people, the better. The poetry was created after Ucluelet secondary students engaged with knowledge holders and residential school survivors, and then they were able to create the poetry and artwork. And the artwork was turned into a screen print and then printed onto T-shirts. And those we have for sale at the visitor center or online as well.
Okay.
If people can't make
let's invite them in when you see them tomorrow. Invite the students and Heather in to the radio to read some of their poems.
Yes.
Let them get school credit for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I really would like, just for people that are listening and maybe they can't get there, I'd love to have them read it on the radio too. They're welcome to come.
And this is such a cool segue.
Okay, let's segue
it just
away.
made me think of another element, another artifact of learning that you could say that's going to be on display. I've literally got these iPads on stands with headphones in the back of my car right now. iPads on stands with headphones. What could this be? It's podcasts. So Lucas Anderson, amazing librarian, teacher, worked with his students to develop podcasts, and they're interviewing knowledge holders, elders, survivors, and community members to sort of get through, some of the ideas in a verbal form too. And I was thinking that could also be syndicated on the radio in different ways or shared through podcasts.
Absolutely. Put us in touch with the people that might give permission for that, because we would, at the very least, we would play it on that day. And we often are really reflective of our programming. Like, okay, what are we going to do on that day? We don't only want it to be on that day. Like, there's other stations that are just doing the programming on that day, and we don't want to kind of be like everyone else, but we don't want to do nothing. So we have, the things that we do on the 30th, but I like the podcasting idea because it's continuing. And even if you did it like committed to the whole month of October, just to weave in just more than that one day. So yes to podcasts. Made me think of something else, but I'm not going to go totally errant. I've said errant twice today now, so I don't want to go totally off track on that. But just tell me more about the event. It starts tomorrow. The radio can keep promoting it throughout the week. It ends on, say that again, Jess, the day it ends?
Sunday, October 19th.
It ends on the 19th. We can buy orange shirts. I'm going to buy. I actually don't have one, so I'm going to come in and buy one. My kids don't have them. And so for Orange Shirt Day, we just kind of wear the orange that we have, but I'd like to get a beautiful shirt. I've seen some really beautiful ones, so it'd be great to stop in and see what's there. There's beading, there's the ceremony. Anything else about the next 2 weeks that we need to know?
Yes, so the orange t-shirts we do sell at the visitor center, as well as the student poetry books, and all of the proceeds go directly towards student-led Reconciliation Day efforts and the exhibit itself.
Okay.
So that's like a feel-good purchase, and they're really affordable too.
They are. Okay.
And I think they're 100% cotton. Don't quote me on that, but they are cotton, mostly cotton, and like locally designed and screen printed. We also have them for sale on our website for people who can't come in and who do want an authentic t-shirt.
Has anyone ever thought about traveling this exhibit? For example, I have friends that visit from Toronto, and they say, like, really, there's not a lot of content in their curriculum on the East Coast where they are about First Nations education, reconciliation. I know we're a little bit ahead, with that kind of education. I was wondering, if you're one of the only tourism offices that does that, is anyone looking at Tourism Tofino as a model? Are you thinking of touring or moving this exhibit around, for other communities?
Well, I can start to answer that, and then Colin will have probably more information. So the part of the exhibit itself is a traveling exhibit. It's a national exhibit through the Legacy of Hope Foundation. And so that exhibit is traveling around to various communities. And then on top of that, we're adding the local student artwork and poetry to it. So yeah, it's a great example for other visitor centers and how they can make space for community learning and reconciliation. And then also it creates a sense of space and a learning opportunity that brings in locals and visitors. So educating visitors from other countries about like truth and reconciliation as well. So
yeah,
I hope it stands out as a good example.
Yeah, for sure. I can speak as maybe easier for me to say as a person outside of Tourism Tofino, but I think that organization has really come so far in the last few years, really working to understand what tourism is beyond just like marketing, getting more visitors here, but actually trying to understand what a socially just and sustainable tourism industry can look like. And just like kudos to Tourism Tofino for diving in. And I'm sure there aren't a ton of destination marketing organizations like Tourism Tofino doing the same thing across, so-called Canada these days. So I think it'd be an amazing opportunity to share what we're doing.
Absolutely. I think about the school so much as an example for Truth and Reconciliation because, of course, they do something on the day, but they do a lot of education work all year. And the real, for me, piece as a settler, the Truth and Reconciliation piece is seeing, my kids be so influenced and so interested in First Nations culture and learning the language and then seeing the friendships develop and the sharing develop. And I think, that's my hope. When you talk about legacy of hope, when you see the young children and interacting in that way and sharing in that way. And, my son has a really good friend and he comes over and my son drums and he sings. And I'm almost brought to tears by the hope of that. But that is something that's sustained, all year. So I know you can't speak for Brad, but from a tourism perspective, is there anything you think we could do as a community to sustain the effort to be an all year education opportunity instead of just a day or a couple weeks?
It is definitely a priority of the visitor center as well to do more activations and to support local projects, whether it's cultural or educational projects. Within the last couple of years, we've also created a destination stewardship position. That's Jody Kirk. So she's our destination stewardship director.
And what does that mean?
It's really much focused on sustainability, but also stewardship and culture and building of relationships and equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. So it's definitely part of a provincial priority too. And we hear about these terms at conferences, but she's done such an amazing job at actually putting these things into motion within the community.
Another guest. I'll have to have Jody come in when she comes back just to fill us in on what she's done. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
so
great.
Much good work.
Yeah. Okay, I thank you so much for doing that, Jess, and to all of Tourism Tofino, to Brad in New Zealand. You're not listening, but just thank you for all you've done for equity and for culture. We really appreciate you. We are going to have a quick music break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Neighbourhood Small Grants and also the Lifelong Learner Award. That's going to be all Colin. So, Jess, you're off the hook for a little bit, but thank you so much for talking about Truth and Reconciliation. We'll be back after this song.
You're listening to Tuff City Radio, 99.5 CIMM in Ucluelet and 90.1 CHMZ in Tofino, West Coast Radio.
We are back from our musical break. We are featuring the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust and Tourism Tofino this morning, but it's our show, What's Brewing in the Biosphere. We do this once a month. Thank you, Marianne, for just being at the organizational helm of all of this and keeping us all organized and with such thoughtful questions. We really appreciate Clayoquot Biosphere Trust for doing this show because, they're just making a kind of dedicated effort to share with the community what they're up to. It's a sponsored spot, so they're paying to be on air. And, I just think that's a really neat idea for businesses out there. If you're, you want to, maybe you don't want to advertise, but maybe there's an organization in town, like the Rain Coast Education Society. And you're like, you know what? I want to sponsor the Rain Coast Education Society to have a show. You could do what the CBT is doing. So once a month they come in, they do What's Brewing in the Biosphere, and they let us all know what they're up to. And they're always up to such interesting things. So we were recapping Truth and Reconciliation Day, talking about the exhibit. It's a partnership with Tourism Tofino from October 8th to October 19th. So please go for the opening tomorrow. It starts at 12 o'clock. There'll be a beading workshop, and then there's also going to be a ceremony between 4 and 6. And we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about the CBT and some endeavors that they have going on, such as the Lifelong Learner Award, as well as the Neighbourhood Small Grants. So I'm going to turn Colin back on for this. Colin Robinson, thank you for joining us again. Tell us about the Lifelong Learner Award. I am a lifelong learner. Can I apply?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I like to think we're all lifelong learners. And it's cool to think about how I'll just share a bit of story behind how this thing came about. So from the onset, CBT has always had a mandate to invest in the people who live here, and what better way than education. So for many years, it was, the conventional education awards for graduating high school students going to university. But we realized that has been, that's the old school way to think about it. So I've seen that program develop a bit more recently. It's a very holistic approach. Like, it's not just who's got the top marks. It's really about who you are, what your vision and dream is for your education, how you've been connected in serving your community, how you want to give back to your community, really, taking a big view of the whole picture. But we realized, and we've had, a really awesome group of community volunteers who help steer the direction of the Education Awards, largely linked to our board of directors, that there are many folks wanting to continue learning beyond just graduating high school. So if you wanted to go back and do some extra certifications or do a master's degree or something like that, we realized there's a big need for that. And so that's how the Lifelong Learner Lifelong Learner Award came to be.
Okay. Do you nominate yourself? Do you ask your friend to nominate you? Like, how does that work?
No, anybody can just apply. You don't have to be nominated, but you do definitely want to collect some great personal reference letters, because this stuff is very community oriented. Like I said, it's not just about how good your marks are. And really what makes people shine is that, like, sort of community validation of what you're trying to do or what your potential is. Maybe you haven't had the most community involvement, but you really have a dream to further that through your education pathway. That's kind of where
Is it formal education that you're looking for?
Yeah, I think it's generally stuff that would require tuition. You can't just say, hey, like, I'm a lifelong learner. I need a $5,000 stipend to just allow me to wander around learning.
So there's a cash value associated with this. You're not just printing me out a certificate that says I'm a lifelong learner.
Yes, it's not a certificate.
Tell me more. What's the criteria? How do I apply? What's the deadline? Tell me all that good stuff.
Okay. So it is for folks who have graduated from high school. So there's a separate awards for graduating high school students, but you have to have graduated from high school and you have to have done so more than 3 years ago. So the next piece is, how much is it? $5,500. This has been adjusted. It's more than it used to be because of inflation. But it's a one-time award, and hopefully that can contribute to a good chunk of your expenses while you're learning.
And so could you use it for university?
Yep, you can definitely use it for university, other types of certifications. Check in, like, it's kind of trying to be as flexible as we can. So if you're not sure, just reach out to any of the CBT staff. You can write to the grants at clayoquotbiosphere.org email, or call our phone number, Google us, whatever, find us on Facebook. If you're not sure, or you just want to ask a bit more.
Do you think high school students could use this as an opportunity to help offset tuition for university? Or is it more for like adults that have already been to university and they're doing like post stuff? Yeah,
it's meant to support folks who have maybe had a bit of a break in their formal education journey and they're trying to come back to it. So yeah, there's a hard criteria of you need to have graduated high school at least 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a huge criteria. I have someone in mind, so I'm going to reach out to them today, and I feel like they might be really shy about doing it. So how could you, like, what advice would you give someone that thinks, oh no, I shouldn't do it, or I'm kind of embarrassed to ask for this? Like, what's some advice that you would give someone like that?
I would say just believe in yourself and definitely come chat to the team at CBT. Like, this is where people who live here and are connected to the scene, and it's just, don't hesitate.
Don't hesitate. What if they've already paid and gone into debt for their tuition? Could they use this grant to pay themselves back, or it has to be for a future tuition or future learning?
That is a good point. Yeah, like if you're partially into your program already.
Yeah.
I think I'm not 100% sure because I don't actually administer this program myself, but I think that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, get in touch. If you're halfway through and you're hearing this today, and you think, I qualify and I really could use the help, is it more information on the website that people could find out about, or should they email the person in charge of the grant?
Yeah, you can just go onto the CBT website, navigate to the grants tab. And then within that, there's a section on the education awards, and all the information will be there. But again, one of my favorite parts of my job is when people ask me stuff.
Okay.
If they give us a call or give us an email, it just makes my day.
Okay, Colin. So you got to find out if you're halfway through, can you apply for this grant? You also have something else for students that are in grade 11, is it, that they can apply, or in grade 12? Can they apply for something as well? Is that something different than the lifelong learner, right?
Yeah, that's a separate award. There's two different ones. There's a Newchonelth Education Award, which is for any Central Region Newchonelth community members. And then there's a general, they call it the Clayoquot Biosphere Award. And that is the same thing. So there's two for graduating high school students. And those are both 4-year awards. So you get an installment for every year for 4 years. So it's a little more money than the one time.
And you get it after you graduate high school?
Yep.
To help you with university or college or whatever.
That's right.
Okay, wow.
But that's not open right now. But
it's not.
No.
But it will be kind of in the new year type thing for students. So this is open now. I wonder, when's the deadline for this lifelong learner?
Yeah, I'm just scrolling on my phone. Okay. I didn't write it down on my little
I don't have scroll
paper.
music, Colin. You're going to have to hum something.
Scrolly. Where is the award? Here it is.
Somewhere.
It's open until November 12th.
Also, it closes soon, a little over a month. So get your application in.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I can't say it enough. We're here to help. Don't spend time farting around in our online grant system or trying to find the website. Just call or email or message on Facebook.
I have found you to be extremely helpful. I did the Neighbourhood Small Grants once, and Brooke, I don't know if she's still in charge of that, but she helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really hand holding almost.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, this is zooming out to the whole, I believe about just general scholarships and grant making is it really should be about the impact of the award. And if you have to spend all this energy navigating a complicated application program, that's kind of not a very well-designed application because it's taking away your energy from doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing with that money.
Well, you work for a nonprofit. There's lots of paperwork. I used to as well. And it was a lot of grant application, and the process can be really long, but yours is not, thankfully. And the Neighbourhood Small Grants, I've applied for that. I've reported on that. It was quite fun applying for it, and reporting on it is fun because you share photos of your event, and that is coming up as well. That application closes sooner than the lifelong learner. That closes on the 30th.
That's right.
Neighbourhood Small Grants. I love this program. Is this the brainchild of someone? Is this Rebecca's idea? How did this happen?
Yeah, this one actually came to us by the Community Foundations of Canada network. So CBT is part of these networks, Biosphere Network, Community Foundation Network. And one of the cool things about being part of a network is you get to enjoy learning from other organizations elsewhere. So yeah, I think Neighbourhood Small Grants got started over 20 years ago in Vancouver. And they said, hey, this is such a good idea. We're going to help other smaller community foundations kick off their programs. So on the ground here, we've been doing it for almost 10 years. And it's one of everybody's favorites. I think at the staff team, in the community, because unlike convoluted, large, stressful, bureaucratic grants, these things are for any individual. So organizations actually can't apply if you're applying as a nonprofit or a business. It's for individual people, and it's meant to be a very low barrier application, really starting from a place of yes. The idea is if you've got an idea, we want to fund it. And, unless it's a blatantly dangerous or discriminatory idea, or the committee really wants to figure out a way to get some money to you. And it's small, so meant to not be an overwhelming commitment. $50 to $500 is the grant amount. A good way to think about it is if you've had some idea, maybe that's a gathering of friends to have a dinner together and share a cultural skill or stories, or, have an initiative to bring youth and elders together to do something just some funky, small scale event like that. This is sort of meant to just not make sure you don't have to do it out of pocket.
I'm gonna tell you, on my street alone, we have had everything from a hot dog barbecue for Halloween. So I mean, you're probably shaking your head like the CBT did not fund hot dogs. And so maybe it wasn't called the hot dog thing gathering, but hot dogs were served. And it was for Halloween. It was for all the kids in the neighborhood. So they had like a safe place to congregate and kind of like gather for Halloween. We have the amazing Natchuk's secondhand library for reusable books to be exchanged. So secondhand books are at the top of Lone Cone. That is Marnie Reckers. And then we had plant medicine in my backyard with Giselle Martin. That's just on my street and just what I know of. So you have like a range of like a hot dog barbecue event for kids to like library to plant medicine. It's so cool. That's just on our street. That's 3 houses. I know one year that Hayden, a kid at the elementary school, used the small neighborhood grants to put on like a Halloween party at the community hall. So just really cool, like a big range. I'd really like to see more kids applying, like with help from their parents. But kids have the greatest ideas and they have no budget. And so this would be a really cool opportunity, especially those like upper elementary or high school kids, to enact some kind of leadership and have some support, financial support to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely youth applications are highly encouraged and definitely prioritized by the committee, as are ones that are ultimately trying to just bring together community members in ways that are sometimes hard to make happen.
And sometimes there is a focus. I remember reaching out to Brooke a while ago and she said, well, you might want to apply for this theme this round for neighborhood grants, because sometimes it can be thematic. Is there a focus for the applications this time?
Yeah, yep. In the fall, we are focusing on culture. Okay. So that's a very broad thing. It's meant to be broad and encompassing of lots of things. Newtown North culture obviously is a very dominant culture here, but it's not limited to just that. But if you can try to put a cultural spin on, this community event or initiative, that's what we should think about. Yeah, and think about like partnerships, youth partnerships. So if you're, maybe not New Chalmette, but your friend is, you could do something together, which I think would be, really neat, kind of in embodying, what Tourism Tofino is doing, what the school is doing right now. So think about who your friends are, who your allies are, and maybe partner with them. Anything else we could say about small neighborhood grants? Well, I mean, I guess I could just zooming out like the bigger picture. I mentioned this thing started in Vancouver, and one thing the Vancouver Foundation, they're really progressive on the sort of understanding social justice, structural barriers and discrimination, what have you. And one thing that they were starting to see in Neighbourhood Small Grants was the people who were always applying were like the wealthy people who had the time and inclination. Maybe they didn't have to work full time or something like that. And, they were just trying to get a little neighborhood initiative. It's great. It's well intentioned, but ultimately it was just channeling money towards people who didn't need it as much. But those were the people who had the time and inclination to lead it. So as the program is developed, I think it's meant to really build a more inclusive community in that sense, and really trying to break down barriers that people might face in participating in a community initiative like this. Because if you're having to work 2 jobs, or you're sick, or you're super stressed out, life is difficult, you're not going to, maybe apply as readily as somebody who's more resourced and healthier and stable, what have you. So that's that partnership again. Like I just think of like young Hayden having his mom help him out with the application. Like you could reach out to someone that maybe doesn't have the time or even the ability to do a 5-page application and say, I'll fill this out for you and let's do your idea. So maybe asking who you can help before October 30th, if someone has an idea. Yeah. Does CBT do any outreach in the schools? Like, do you have your call at the school so that students can see? At the schools, we actually, that is an amazing idea. We do have like at USS, for example, Jason Sam, our amazing connection to USS. He's a CBT staff, but he's been involved in having a youth kind of committee that has been involved in actually receiving grant applications from other students and evaluating them, making things happen like that. But I don't think we've actually gone to the elementary schools yet. You should. I mean, I don't want to give you more things to do, but they have a really active, grade 6, grade 7 class. They used to have a student council headed by Mel Morris. I don't know if she's doing it anymore, but, they are kind of thirsty for leadership
ideas at that age. So
cool.
And they're not, they don't have that like full embarrassment to put themselves out there yet. That tends to happen in high school.
Yeah, they're not too cool yet.
Yeah, they're not too cool yet. So I don't know, like think about maybe going in there and presenting, this idea of the maximum $500 for your idea. And I am surprised how little opportunity there is in the elementary school for doing like community service. I remember that being like a subject that I had to take in elementary school. And we had to go like once a week to like an old age home, and we had like a partner that was there and we did community service. And I don't see that really happening in the elementary school. And I don't expect the teachers to take that on. Like, as we said earlier, they're already way too full. But maybe if someone from CBT like made a presentation to the grade 6-7 class, kind of taking the burden off the teachers, they could learn about this opportunity. And if more youth apply, I just can't wait to see what these projects could look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's your homework.
Cool. Yeah, that's we heard it here first.
We heard it here first. I'm going to see you walking into the school. You or someone else. Who runs the small neighborhood grant?
Yeah.
Are you in charge of it?
Mainly that would be Brookwood.
Okay.
Marianne Marianne does everything. She's amazing.
Everything. Okay, I'm going to get Marianne to go in. She can do everything.
Well,
right?
we shouldn't. I don't want to pile it on Marianne's. I also have been involved in neighborhood small grants for years.
And you're great with kids.
Thank you.
So is your partner.
Yeah.
So you know what? You really fit the role of the person that's going to be coming in.
Thank you.
Next week, Colin.
Okay. We don't
there.
have the problem with neighborhood small grants though is that it's like, we come from a place of yes, but we're always like trying to scratch out more money. So, hey, if you're a business listening and you think neighborhood small grants are great and you want to donate to support a few super grassroots community projects, just reach out to us.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there is a misunderstanding that CBT might have this kind of like unlimited or very deep budget for these kinds of grants. And so it's really good to clarify that right off the bat. So for example, once a year, Tuff City Radio does a sandcastle competition. We raise money for a local initiative. This year, we gave it to Tofino Recreation because they have a program where they sponsor kids to do recreation. So it's like $500 per kid to get like a full sponsorship to do rec programs. But in knowing what you just said right now, next year we might give to the small neighborhood grants.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a really good opportunity if you're a business. If you really like maybe haven't given back to your full ability of supporting the community and you're thinking about how can I give back? Maybe you're a developer and you are, developing a housing project here and you want to give back to the community. Small neighborhood grants would be a great place. Would they like just theoretically write you a check and you'd give them a donation receipt for taxes? How would that work?
Yeah, there's some technical nuts and bolts, but
you're always
more
looking
or less,
for more fundraising opportunities for
100%. Yeah, like I think for neighborhood small grants this round we might have $6,000.
Okay.
So it's not a crazy amount of money, but that's also one of the most beautiful things about neighborhood small grants is that for a relatively small amount of money, you can make ripples to many communities, many community members. Small is powerful is the tagline.
Small is beautiful.
Yeah, it's also beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that. And if you did go to the school, let's just say, then you are speaking to children that are in like Opitset as well. So like gets the message out to the other communities. Because this says it's open to all West Coast communities. So I'm assuming is that from like a house?
Yeah, Heshquit has it, Clayoquot, Tofino, Usluisat. I'm wandering around my microphone here.
I know. I see you looking out and
yeah, I know. I'm getting distracted by this beautiful view.
Don't look at the ocean. Don't look directly at the
actually,
ocean.
I was looking out to the land to visualize the communities I was trying to rhyme off there. Makoa as well.
So they're all welcome to apply.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So unless you're getting this signal from Port Alberni, if you can hear this, you can apply. I
would love you to hear the signal from Port Alberni. You can hear us online, though.
Oh, that's true.
And you can hear us on the signal now because of the new upgrades that we did all the way to Kennedy. Okay. So right where that construction was, now our signal goes there.
Sweet.
Hey, thanks, Curtis.
Yeah. Last thing I'll just mention too about the applications is that it's an online application if you want it to be. But you're also welcome to take an application over the phone. Like call us. We'll take it like orally. We'll ask you the questions. We'll write it down. Or we're also having a bunch of open houses in a couple of different communities over the next 3 weeks or so.
Are you full every year for this grant?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We always get, this is like, I mean, I always say Neighbourhood Small Grants is like the purest expression of like community intention, because there's no like administrative or technical barriers. It doesn't have to go through a nonprofit. It doesn't have to be linked to a bigger project. It's literally just community members with ideas, small amounts of money, put them together.
I'm really grateful. Thank you. I never, I only did it I think I did it a couple times, and I'll never forget the experience of being able to like work with Giselle, teach the kids about the plants, make the plant medicine with them. I hope it was impactful for them too, but just as someone that was administering it, just want to say thank you, because it was a really wonderful opportunity. Can you talk about those open houses that you just mentioned earlier? You said there's open houses. You're going to let folks know about the Neighbourhood Small Grant, but what do we need to know about the open houses?
Yeah, just that they're happening. I guess it's good to share. We're trying to just show up in communities where there's stuff happening, where people are already gathering. So in kind of chronological order, actually tomorrow Wednesday? Yeah. Tomorrow night we'll be at the Sequitine Center in Itatsu for a culture night from 5 to 7. So it'll be an opportunity. We'll obviously share about Neighbourhood Small Grants. You can, apply if you have an idea right off the hop, or you can just get more information. And we'll also just be able to share any other info about CBT if people are interested or have no idea. And then, we've got 2 events, actually 3 events within 2 days in middle of October. Makoa is going to be on October 15th at lunchtime. There's an elders lunch. In Yuki, on the 16th, we're going to be at the WCRS community lunch at the Ucluelet Community Center. So people come on in, hang out, get some lunch, chat about this. Tyastanis will also be at a lunchtime event there at the Health Center on October 16th. We're also heading up to Hot Springs Cove on October 23rd. And the rest is TBD, but we're trying to be out there, trying to get the word out.
I love that. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for getting the word out, especially before the deadline.
Yeah.
So it gives opportunities for those communities to participate. We would love to see some youth applications and some applications from those further communities to support whatever endeavor you want to do on the West Coast. Colin, are we forgetting anything? We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Truth and Reconciliation, Tourism Tofino partnership with it. The Lifelong Learner Award. Don't forget to apply for that. And then now the Neighbourhood Small Grants. How are we doing?
I think that was my to-do list. I feel I don't actually like directly run any of these programs, so I'm feeling stoked. I think we got through it all.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You're an excellent spokesperson. So thanks for coming in.
Yeah, I do love going on the radio. It is fun.
You're welcome next month too. I don't know what's in store. Marianne will let us know. She's in charge. But thank you to the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust for sponsoring the show. Thank you for updating us monthly about what's brewing in the biosphere. To Tourism Tofino, you're doing great work keeping culture as part of our kind of everyday conversation instead of just a once a year conversation. So thanks so much for everyone for doing your part. This has been What's Brewing in the Biosphere with the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust. Have a great morning, everyone.